Okay, what's good, people? It's your boy, Jez J, and just some quick thoughts about the fight this weekend. On Saturday, we saw Fury versus Usyk 2, and what a fight we saw. Unlike the first fight, it was a lot less fireworks, but I think we saw a boxing masterclass from both fighters, to be honest. I thought Fury was one of the best performances I've seen him in a very, very long time. I would say going back to probably versus Deontay Wilder 2, I was really impressed with his performance, and I think he should be really credited for being the amazing heavyweight that he is. But we have to focus on Oleksandr Usyk, and wow, what a performance from the Ukrainian undisputed champ. Well, he's actually unified champ and needs to beat Daniel Dubois again before he gets the belt back. But wow, I think that was a real masterclass in changing your game plan during a fight, in pressure fighting, but consistent, intelligent pressure fighting as well. I was really impressed with how Oleksandr Usyk was able to use some defensive tools to mitigate the uppercut, which was a punch that he was getting hit with several times over and over in the first fight, which really was actually, I would say, up to the 6th round, I would have said Fury was in the lead as well. But coming up to, actually, you know what, quite similarly in this fight as well, we saw in the up to the first 6 rounds, I actually had Tyson Fury quite comfortably ahead, but then he just put on the afterburners, and Usyk was incredible, guys. He literally, I think his gas tank is something coming up from cruiserweight, always being in shape. You know, Tyson Fury does blow out of shape when he's not in camp, and I think that has kind of hurt him during his career. I think, you know, I know people will say, look, he's only ever lost to Usyk, and I think that's fantastic, but I genuinely think if Fury was in camp, like a lot of the other heavyweights that we see, someone like Anthony Joshua, or someone like well, probably too early to say this, but someone like a Moses Italma or a Daniel Dubois, people who are always in shape, who are always, you know, not drinking, not blowing out of size. I think if Tyson Fury was able to do that for his whole career, I don't think Oleksandr Usyk would have stood a chance in this fight. But you know what? Now we have to think about what next for Usyk, and I'm so excited about what potentially could be next. A lot of people would say retire, but I think if Usyk really wants to be recognized as an all-time great in the heavyweight division, he probably has to have a few more fights just to solidify his career. And I know some people would say that, you know, he's already undefeated. He's already been an undisputed and unified champion at heavyweight. He has nothing else to do. He's beating Fury twice, the only person to ever beat Tyson Fury. But I think he just has so much more to give. Obviously, this isn't the best Usyk that we've ever seen. Obviously, at the later stages of 30, you're not going to see that. But I think he's just, from a technical standpoint, so much far ahead in terms of these fighters. We saw Daniel Dubois jump into the ring and give some sort of call out. We all know Dubois is a special fighter, we should say, and I'm really excited about seeing that fight potentially. But I just have to really have a conversation. Moving on to a separate conversation, actually, I want to discuss Oleksandr Usyk, his career, and I think it's not a very long career in terms of number of fights, but if you count his amateur background as well, it is a very long period of fights. But I just had a thought that came into my head. I would say, I was just thinking, what would I rather have? Not in terms of money or fame, but would you rather have Floyd Mayweather's boxing record or Oleksandr Usyk's? And I ask that question because most of you guys will say doesn't compare to Floyd's. And I think from a pure number standpoint, you might be right. But I think that Floyd engineered his career, and I've mentioned this in former podcasts as well. I think he engineered his career so that he was fighting people at the right time. Obviously, when he was coming up the ranks, he was fighting the best at the best, right? His fight against Oscar, for example, he fought him at not Oscar's peak, but at a time where he was still considered a top fighter. But after that, you know, you can really think of some of his fights, particularly the Manny Pacquiao fight. That's the one that kind of sticks in my head, that the fact that he waited until Pacquiao wasn't the Pacquiao that we know today. he waited until Pacquiao wasn't at his very top form. And I think that Usyk, in the other hand, is someone who has just fought the very best. He's never ducked and dived people. We know that because he fought AJ twice. He fought Tyson twice. He fought Dubois, an up-and-coming heavyweight, where he could have easily have just tried to find a way to... he could have vacated the title if he wanted to, right? But he chose to fight him. So I'm very, very impressed with the career that Oleksandr Usyk had. He has always been not the house fighter. He's always been if you think about all his fights coming up to it, against AJ, he was not the favorite and he was not the house fighter. Went into London, beat AJ in his backyard. If you think about him and Tyson, Tyson was quite clearly Turki Al-Sheikh's favorite fighter. They talked about it, that Turki said that he wanted a rabbit in his kitchen. So now we can see that he wasn't the favorite in this fight as well, because Turki and the boxing establishment, everybody wanted Tyson to win. And Usyk still managed to go into the back garden of Tyson in Saudi and win that fight. A really special fighter, guys. A really, really special fighter. And maybe I don't want him to retire because I'm selfish and I want to continue to watch him fight. But I think if we can consider Usyk to be a real all-time great. I really don't have too much to say about it. I think just a quick comment on what's next for Tyson as well. Let's see that AJ fight. I consider the top 5 of this generation being Oleksandr Usyk, Tyson Fury, Daniel Dubois. No, I'm not going to include Daniel in this generation just because he's so young. AJ, Dillian Whyte, and then Deontay Wilder. I think that AJ and Tyson Fury is still one of the biggest fights in boxing. I think that will break records in London at Wembley. And I think that would decide who was actually the second fighter to Oleksandr Usyk in this generation, and who was the best British heavyweight of this generation as well. Tyson would be my favorite. I think AJ can do it, but I am strongly saying that Tyson is the favorite. But that would be one hell of a fight. And if there's one fight that AJ could muster up, that old AJ, and bring that back into the ring, it would be that fight. And I would love to see it. So we'll break that one down at another time. I still think that is a huge money draw. People will say, yeah, they've lost now. Yeah, look, we didn't get Pacquiao Mayweather when we wanted, but we're still getting this now. So bring it on, man. 2025 is going to be a huge year. Let's go!
I'm a different type of rock star. I got class and I got Henny overflowing up my shot glass. And yeah, I know I'm not a keeper, but can you be my mama seater by the time I'm done?